do a foam roller session with this one. If you haven't got one of these, they are brilliant. I would thoroughly recommend them. You can get them off Amazon. This is a 90cm foam roller, and it needs to be that long because we're going to lie along it. And I think it's about maybe 15 centimetres, 20 centimetres diameter, but they're fairly standard in their diameter. And it's worth getting a fairly decent one, so a fairly high density foam roller, so it doesn't squash. Now, as always, please be mindful. Please listen to your body. If something doesn't feel great, it probably isn't. Please stop, get in touch with me, let me know what's going on, and we'll see if we can make things work a little bit better for you. Now, these foam rollers are absolutely brilliant for improving your balance, for really getting your back freed up, for really opening you up through the front of the body. I absolutely love them. It's one of my favourite bits of kit. But if you haven't used one before and you're not used to it, I would certainly start little and often. Maybe just lie along the length of the roller for 5 minutes, or maybe even 2 minutes, and just notice how that feels. Quite often it feels alright at the time, and if you have had back problems, you might find the following day a little bit stiff, because really it's just helping your back to open up and to change, and change sometimes isn't the smoothest process. So just a word of warning, just to approach sensibly, do a little bit, see how you feel, and sort of feel your way through. And if you've used them before, brilliant. This will be this will have some quite challenging stuff in it. So you have a little rest, just do maybe 1 or 2 reps, do an easier version when we get onto that stuff. Okay, so we're going to start in 4-point kneeling. So we'll have wrists under wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We'll just do a couple of cat moves to start with. So we're going to breathe out, tuck the tailbone, round the back up towards the ceiling. Hold there for a nice deep breath in. Breathe out, lift the tailbone, lengthen the top of the head forward, and come back into neutral. And again, breathing out, tucking the tailbone, rounding the back up, pausing there for a deep breath in, breathing out, lifting the tailbone, and lengthening back to neutral. Couple more. As you take your deep breath in at the top, think about filling the back of the body with air, and then breathe out, empty out all that air, and lengthen back to neutral. Last one. And come back to neutral. So you see I've got my roller to one side. You're going to bring the opposite hand through under that arm that's closest to the roller. And then we're just going to breathe out, roll that roller away, come into our thread the needle, and breathe in to come back again. So you are working quite hard through that supporting arm. Just look after your neck, keep thinking about the length through your neck. And those shoulders gently drawing away from your ears. And as you take that roller across, think about your bottom staying up above your hips, try not to drop backwards. Keep up and find that really nice rotation and stretch through the back. We'll go one more this way. Come back to centre, pop that roller over on the other side. So just notice how it felt that way, see how it feels this way. Breathe out, roll the roller away. Breathe in and come back again. So keeping those hips up above the knees. You are working hard through that supporting arm. Just finding that nice rotation and stretch through the body. So it doesn't matter how far you go, it is just about mobilising into your comfortable range. Let's go for one more. And come back to centre. Okay, so we are going to lie on our front now with our roller out in front of us. You might want a little cushion for your forehead. Now if this is not comfortable for your shoulders, instead of having your hands on a roller, you could have a couple of laminated sheets on a carpet or a hard floor, or just literally your hands on the floor sliding back and forwards. The roller's nice, it just gives a bit more feedback, and if your shoulders are comfortable in that position, it's a little bit better. So, just have a couple of deep breaths, let the body sink down into the mat. Just check you've got length through the back of your neck, your forehead resting on the mat. Just find that little bit of lift of the lower tummy away from the mat. Reach the tailbone for your heels. So we're going to breathe in and roll the roller away from us, so our shoulders come up to our ears. We're going to breathe out and draw the shoulders down away from the ears, so the roller comes back towards us. Breathing in, roller rolls away, shoulders come up to the ears. Breathing out, draw the shoulder blades towards the back pockets, shoulders come away from the ears, and the roller comes back towards us. So at the moment, head stays heavy on the mat, chest stays heavy into the mat as well. Just visualise your rib cage covered in olive oil, your shoulder blades covered in olive oil as well. And those shoulder blades just slide up towards your shoulder, up towards your ears, and then down towards your back pockets. And they slide so easily, just covered in oil, slippering and sliding up towards your ears and down towards your back pockets. So just check that your arms stay straight. We're not looking to bend and straighten the elbows, we're all pretty good at that. We want to get those shoulder blades sliding up and sliding down. A lot of us get tight through our upper traps, those muscles at the base of the neck, the top of the shoulders. By getting these shoulder blades sliding down the back, we're using the lower traps. By getting them stronger, hopefully we can offload the upper traps and just facilitate better movement and positioning through the shoulder. Okay, so if you want to, as you breathe out and those shoulder blades slide towards your back pockets, think about the top of your head reaching towards the roller, so your head just floats up away from the mat. And then release back down again. So breathing out, the roller comes towards you, the top of your head reaches towards the roller, your head floats just away from the mat. Breathing in to release back down again. So less is more when it comes to your head float. See if you can keep your chest heavy into the mat. Just a teeny float of the forehead up. Let's go for one more like that. Have a little breather. So if you know your back likes extension, take your feet a bit wider, turn your toes out, really plug your pubic bone down into the mat, so you're kind of tucking your tailbone, keeping that length through the lower back. Now if you know your back doesn't like extension, just keep this really small, really, really small. So breathe out, draw your shoulder blades towards your back pockets, reach the top of your head towards the roller. And then keep drawing those shoulder blades down and gently peeling your chest up away from the mat. You might not come anywhere near this far. And then just breathing in to release back again. So you really want to think about the top of your head lengthening forwards, shoulder blades sliding down, really tucking the tailbone, keeping the pubic bone plugged into the mat. And then breathe in, release back down. So we want most of this movement to come through your thoracic area, your upper back. You're trying to keep your lower back relatively long. So you just think about peeling the front of your body away from the mat, one tiny bit at a time. If it feels good, you can come a bit further. Let's go for one more. Gently come back down. Well done. Pop your hands under your shoulders, push yourself up onto your knees and just drop back into your shell stretch. Want to take your knees a bit wider, get a bit more stretch through the hips, feel free. And just breathe into the back of the rib cage. And then we'll walk the hands across to one side. Just find that stretch into the long side of the body. Breathe into that. Feel those ribs expand, just increasing the stretch a little bit. And then breathing out. Empty out all that air. Really relax. And then we'll walk the hands across to the other side. Find that stretch into the long side of the body again. Breathe in. Feel the ribs expand. Feel that stretch increase just a little bit. And then breathe out, empty out all the air. And then bring those hands back to the middle. Come back up onto hands and knees. So we're going to do a little bit of leg pull. Now you don't have to, but it'll make it a little more challenging if you pop your foam roller under your ankles. If you don't want to do that, you can just tuck your toes and leave your foam roller to one side. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. So just take a moment to set up your nice neutral position. Just think about the top of the head reaching forwards, the back of the neck floating up towards the ceiling. We're going to draw shoulder blades gently towards the back pockets, but then think about the rib cage floating up into those shoulder blades, so you feel that connection through your upper back. Lower back should be in neutral. You want that feeling of lift through the tummy. So we're going to have a breath in, and as we breathe out, we're going to think about really engaging through the deeper tummy muscles. So that draw of the little bony hip points at the front of the pelvis towards each other, and then pushing the ankles down into the roller so your knees magically float just away from the floor. So here we go. Breathing in. As you breathe out, draw those little bony hip points towards each other. Just push into your ankles so those knees just come away from the mat. Hold for a breath in and breathe out to come back down. So it is very small. Your roller doesn't move. You're really using those deeper tummy muscles to get the little float through the knees and gently back down. So you are obviously working all the way through your upper body as well, but what I don't want to see is this. Okay, you've got to keep that weight back into your ankles. Those knees just come up from the mat, gently back down. You can imagine you've got a little balloon attached to each side of the back of your pelvis, and those balloons are just floating your pelvis up towards the ceiling. Hold for the in-breath. Breathe out, gently come back down again. So just check you're still drawing those shoulders away from the ears, top of the head reaching forwards. Keeping that neutral position. You can think about your bottom rib on your rib cage, just gently tucking in and up towards your backbone. So you might want to keep working with that. If you want to make it more challenging, I think I've got enough space here. We are going to breathe out, float up, pause for a breath in, breathe out and roll that roller away. Keep the lift through the tummy, the tuck through your tailbone, keep the weight back into your shins, and then draw those knees back in and gently down. So we'll breathe out to float up, hold for an in-breath, breathe out to roll that roller away, keep the lift through the tummy, weight into the shins, hold for that in-breath, breathe out, draw the knees back and gently back down. Have a breath in, go again, breathe out. Float up, hold for the in-breath, and then breathe out to roll away. Hold for the in-breath, breathe out to come back, and breathe in to come back down. So all the way through that, keeping that bottom rib tucking in, lift through the tummy, move nice and slowly with control. If your wrists and shoulders are getting tired, have a little breather, have a little roll round through final progression if you want to. Just do 3 or so of these. So shoulder blades towards the back pockets, rib cage floating up, tummy muscles just working gently. Push down into those ankles, lift through the tummy, roll out, hold here, float one leg, float the other leg. Draw those knees back in, gently back down. So you can see my weight is creeping forwards as it gets harder. Try and keep those shoulders above the wrists. Hold that position. One leg. Keep the leg nice and straight. Keep the lift through the tummy. Last one. Really tuck the tailbone. Keep that tuck as you lift through the leg. And come back in. And have a little breathe. Drop back into your shelf stretch. Okay, walk those hands back up towards you. So, let's come and lie along the length of our roller now. So you're going to sit right on the end of your roller. Check your feet about hip width apart, and they are equidistant from the midline of your roller. Okay, i.e. they're lined up nice and square, they're not off to one side or the other. And then very gently lie yourself down. So you might want a head cushion. Do grab a head cushion, pop it between your head and the roller. That just makes it a little bit comfier for you. Take a moment, have a few deep breaths. Let your body sink around that roller. Just relax the arms. Allow your shoulders to relax, chest to open. And then when you're ready, as you breathe out, gently roll your pelvis towards you so your back flattens into the roller. And then breathing in, roll the pelvis away. So you just get a little arch of your back away from the roller. So just rolling forwards and backwards. Breathing out to roll the pelvis towards you. Breathing in to release the pelvis away. And then just settle so that you can just feel that roller all the way along the centre of your back. So I know normally on the mat we settle into neutral, so you've just got that teeny pocket of air. The thing is on the roller that because your feet are lower than your body, it is very easy for your back to arch too much. So to ensure you stay safe and in a strong position, you're just going to find that roller all the way along the centre of your back. Now if you do naturally have a big lordosis, a big curve in your lower back, you might not be able to do that. But if your intention is to try and find that contact between the roller and the middle of your back all the way along, that will help to keep the right things activated and keep you in a safe place. Okay? So, when you're ready, you're going to take your hands up towards the ceiling. We're going to start with some scapular isolation. So we're just going to breathe in and float the hands up. Breathe out, let the shoulders sink down around the roller. So all the time, collarbones are wide, palms facing each other, arms shoulder width apart. If you feel like your neck is doing too much, just make that movement a little bit smaller. Breathing in to float up, breathing out to sink down. Let's go for one more of those. Keep those shoulders nice and wide. We're going to breathe out, reach one hand towards the wall behind you, one down towards the mat, and then switching over. So obviously, hopefully you've already done a standing warm up. If you haven't, and we're just getting going, just keep this movement a little bit smaller, let those shoulders warm up and get moving. So breathing out to reach away. Breathing in as the hands cross in the centre. Breathing out as they reach away. Quite slow movement. Just notice how their shoulders feel, how they move. keep the hands in line with the shoulders, palms always facing. And we'll go one more each way. And then come back to the centre. Just do a few arm openings. So we're going to breathe in and let that arm open, and breathe out to draw it back up again. Same on the other side. So if you've got hand weights, you could use your hand weights. I've just chosen not to today. Imagine you're hugging a really big tree, and as that arm comes out, you're leading the arm out with your shoulder, with the shoulder blade. This isn't about a stretch through your shoulder, it's just about getting really good movement through there. Or change my breathing around. We should be breathing in to open, and breathing out to come back. And obviously you're staying nice and still on your roller, knees are staying up towards the ceiling. You should be able to feel those deeper muscles and your obliques working to keep you nice and stable as you open that arm and then draw it back again. Okay, pause with those hands up towards the ceiling. Now, if you haven't done so much of this, you might want to just let your hands rest on the floor, arms nice and relaxed by your sides. If you've done a bit more, we'll keep the balance challenge, so keep those hands up towards the ceiling. So we're just going to breathe out and open one knee to the side. We're going to work into our level one hip twist, and then the same with the other knee. So obviously if your arms are by your side, that's going to give you more support, more help with your balance. If your hands are up towards the ceiling, makes it a bit more challenging. Either way, you want those little bony hip points at the front of your pelvis to stay completely level, staying completely still on your roller. So it's much better that you keep your movement smaller and it's got really good quality, and you maintain your lovely balance and stability, than you take that knee too far and you lose the control. So go opposite arm and knee if you've got those hands up towards the ceiling. So a little bit more of a balance challenge. Don't be tempted to go too far now that you've got counterbalance with the arm and the leg. Think about that torso staying really central, just moving through the hip and the shoulder joint. Again, think about hugging a nice big tree, leading that arm open with your shoulder and your shoulder blade. Let's go one more each side. So again, if you want a bit more help with your balance, keep the hands on the floor. If you're confident, you can breathe out, slide that leg away, breathe in and come back again. So you could either keep your foot in contact with the floor, which will be a little bit easier, or you can keep the foot above the floor, which will be considerably more challenging. So breathing out to reach away, breathing in to come back. Really notice what's happened through your body and your position of your back. Just check you're keeping that intent to keep, the whole of your back in contact with that roller all the way along the centre. Once you start to lengthen those legs, it's even easier for that back to arch away from the roller. That's not what we want. So just to reiterate, you might have your hands on the floor, you might be keeping your foot on the floor as it slides away. Doesn't matter, just work at a level that is appropriate for you today. If that's going well, you might want to add a reach through the opposite arm and come back. Let's go one more each side. And come back to middle. Okay, so we're going to go into level one scissors. So you might want your hands back on the floor again, that's absolutely fine. You might want to start with just some really teeny foot floats. Otherwise we're going to breathe out, float one leg into single tabletop, breathe in to come back down again. And then the other side. breathing out to float up, breathing to come back down. So try to keep nice and still and stable on your roller. Keeping those little bony hip points nice and level. Knees always in line with those hips, pointing up towards the ceiling. Fingertips up towards the ceiling as well. So if you find that you can get one foot to float up but not the other, just work with that leg that's tricky, pop the opposite hand on the floor. So let's say it's my left leg that's tricky, and keep my right hand on the mat. I'm going to breathe out to float up, and breathe in to come back down again. I'm going to do a few of those. Once I feel a bit more confident, I'll bring that hand back up again. And then we'll go back to alternate legs. We may have ruined the other leg now, so don't panic, just do the same with that one. Just play around, showing your body where it needs to take the weight to find the balance. Going well, you might go opposite hand and leg. Oops. All the time just trying to keep that lower back in contact with the roller. You should be able to feel those tummy muscles working pretty hard. Oops. I guess that proves my roller's not stuck to the floor at least. Go one more each side. And come back down. So that may be more than enough for you today. Please feel free to stop there, come off the roller, draw your knees into your chest, have a little roll around, have a little stretch. If you want to work considerably harder, we're going to do a little set to finish, which is quite challenging. We're going to come into double tabletop. So you're going to float the first leg up, think about those ribs connecting towards the hips, and float the second leg up. You might need to reposition your head a little bit. Have a little play around so you're comfortable. Okay, we're going to breathe out, tap one set of toes on the floor, breathe in to come back up. Same on the other side. So really important now that you are really focusing on keeping that lower back pretty flat into your roller. Very easy for your back to arch up and away. If you are super pro level and you can maintain your neutral, that's absolutely fine. But if in doubt you want to be flatter into that roller, then not. Okay, so if this is going well, pause, take one hand up towards the ceiling, keep the weight into that other arm. Each time a set of toes taps the floor, the one arm that's up towards the ceiling is going to reach back towards the wall behind you. Okay, so we're going to do roughly 10 on this side. I think that's 9. 10, and then pause. Keep yourself up in double tabletop. Bring that arm back to the floor. Make sure your weight is into that arm, and then take the other one up towards the ceiling. Same again. Breathing out to tap a set of toes down, reach that one arm towards the wall behind you, and return. Same again. So we're alternating legs, but keeping the same arm moving forwards or moving backwards and back again. 9. Pause, let both arms come to the floor. We're going to breathe out, reach one leg away, breathe in to come back. So single leg stretch level 3. Again, keeping that connection to the roller, really lengthening out through that leg, opening out through the hip. You feel those deeper tummy muscles working pretty hard. All of those tummy muscles working pretty hard. Just check what's going on through your neck. So if your neck's working too hard, maybe just have a little look up. And then reposition back down with the leg through the neck. If it's not for you, I cannot reiterate more strongly, leave this alone, do something easier, have a stretch. If you work into the easier levels, this will eventually become achievable. Okay, pause. One hand up towards the ceiling. Each time the leg reaches away, reach back through that arm. Make sure you keep the weight into your arm that is on the floor. There you go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Let that arm come down. Other hand up towards the ceiling. Same again. Breathing out. Reach one leg away and that arm backwards. Switch the legs. Same arm keeps going. Make sure you keep the weight into that arm that's on the floor. You'll probably find that one side is trickier than the other. We're nearly there. I'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that arm come down, let one leg come down, let the other leg come down. And gently roll yourself to one side. Okay, draw those knees in, have a little rock side to side. So we're going to have a stretch out through our hip flexors. If you are quite confident in your body and your back, then we're going to do it with the roller underneath our lower back. If you're not sure, just stay on the mat as you are. You're going to keep one knee drawn in towards your chest and slide the other leg away. So if you're confident, you can bring your roller up against your bottom, pop yourself up into bridge and just bring that roller underneath the back of your pelvis. You want it quite a long way under because we're going to draw one knee in, draw the other knee in, and you need that roller to stay there without you having to hold on to it. So now keep one of your knees nice and close into your chest. Really important you keep it close. That's going to keep your back rounded slightly as we lengthen the other back leg away. So lengthen that leg out and then just let it sink down towards the floor. So to start with, just keep that leg straight. Let the weight of that leg pull you open through the front of your hip. You can see that although I'm a lot better than I used to be, my hip flexors could still be longer and looser. So you might be able to keep your legs straight, keep your bent knee to your chest and have your foot much closer to the floor than me. Everybody's different. You just want to feel that nice stretch, that nice opening all the way through the front of this side of the body and this hip. Now, you could let your knee bend and your foot come down towards the floor. This is just going to change or stretch more into a muscle called rec fem, which crosses your hip and your knee. Again, I'm rather tight through here. As a rider, it's one of the things I have to work on. But just breathe into your stretch. Make sure you keep that bent knee nice and close to you. You shouldn't feel anything in your back at all. Your back is staying very stable, very comfortable. You're just finding that stretch through the front of the hip, down through the front of that thigh. And just stay here for a few more moments. Just check that that straighter leg is not sneaking out to the side, but it's staying in line with your hip. If you're a bit tight sort of through your abductors and your ITB and stuff like that, then you might pull your leg out. We want to keep that leg in line. Okay. When you're ready, draw that straight leg back in, hold on to that knee. Pop the other leg out and away from you. Again, straight to start with, and just gently let the weight of that leg sink down towards the floor so it just opens you up through the front of that hip, through the front of that side of the body. Just breathe into it. So our hip flexors, our major hip flexor, so our major, is really, really closely related to our diaphragm. Where it inserts into the front of our spine is right up where our diaphragm inserts, and the fibres intertwine or interlink, and you can really influence the tone through your hip flexors by influencing the tone through your diaphragm, which you do through your breathing. So nice, deep, easy breaths. Get that diaphragm flowing up and down, and get a nice relaxed tone from the diaphragm down through your hip flexors. Okay, and then you can let that knee bend, let that heel or foot come towards the floor, and just notice how that changes the stretch, where you feel it. Keep that bent knee nice and close into your chest. Again, just check the straight leg, or the relatively straight leg, stays in line with the hip. It doesn't sneak out to the side. And then when you're ready, draw that knee back in again. So just pop your hands over the front of your roller and take those feet up towards the ceiling. This should feel really nice, should feel really comfortable. really enjoyable. If it doesn't, draw your knees back in, gently roll the roller out from under you and just come into a little ball. As long as this feels nice, just sort of chill out here. Shouldn't take a lot of effort to maintain the position. Just let all that blood come back to your body. So if you want to, and again you're safe and happy and confident in your back, you can take your feet towards the wall behind you, which will bring you into a big stretch all through the back of your body, the back of your legs. It's can be quite a strong neural stretch, so if you have any sort of sciatica or that type of thing going on, just be gentle. If it doesn't feel great, come away from that. Okay, and you might want to just pull your toes towards your shins and feel that that increases the stretch, and then point them away, which will release it. So in all my videos I kind of say on the side of caution, and that's because obviously I can't see, I can't help you, I can't sort of modify things for you there in person. In my classes, you know, very rarely is there anything somebody can't do. We can always amend it, you can change it slightly, we can do an alternative, but because I'm unable to see what's going on, please do be sensible. If something doesn't feel great, come away from it, or just do it so small and then see how you feel tomorrow. But the main thing is you enjoy your movement and it makes you feel good. Okay, draw those knees in. Very gently we're going to roll this roller out from underneath us, one little bit at a time, and really feel one backbone coming back to the mat, each one at a time. So you really lengthen through that lower back, and that roller then comes all the way out. And we'll just let one foot come back to the mat, let the other foot come back to the mat. Just enjoy that feeling of length through your lower back. You should feel kind of heavy down into the mat. Just notice the areas of your back that contact the mat. It should be a really nice big area now. Have a couple of nice deep breaths. When you're ready, gently bring yourself over onto one side and slowly push yourself up to sit. Okay, so that is that for today. I hope you enjoyed that.